It's been so long since we did the basic Fire Monk run that I forgot how they performed. What's that? Oh, we haven't done the basic one yet? Well, who cares? Because the Black Flame Monk is obviously better than the Standard Flame. Black Flame has percentile damage, and percentile damage is good against any boss that has health, which is all of them. This is gonna be nice and smooth. How could it not be? If you like these videos, follow us on Twitch. That's where we play them live. Join the Patreon to support the channel. It's the best place to do it, and you can vote in the polls. This one beat out the Draconic Tree Sentinel, so if you wanted to see that awesome Ash of War, you should consider voting next time. Finally, make sure you like and subscribe. Now, let's get started on what I bet will be a solid build. You gotta bet on black. So even though Black Flame Monks wear white, we're starting off wearing black as a confessor. What are we confessing to? Being bad at the Grafted Scion. It's my greatest sin. We're starting it off with a mistake because I listened to chat. Somebody said that the Black Flame Monks only use the curved greatsword. This is what we call in the industry a lie. Extra Life is inaccurate sometimes, but chat is like 20% accurate tops. Y'all can't dunk on Vextra when you use it all the time and are wrong more often than they are. Unless you're dunking on them for being overrun with pop-up ads. Like, what the hell? That site is virtually unusable lately. What's going on? Thankfully, I was smart and double-checked on a previous save file to confirm that yes, the Black Flame Monks do also use the hammer, which means we get to. I love hammers, one of my favorite weapon types. This is gonna be great.
You had me nervous.
So let's just boogie on up to Lernia, where we can farm the regular Fire Monk for the regular Fire Monk hammer, which is also the Black Flame Monk hammer. Could they have made the Black Flame Monk hammer a somber weapon with the Black Flame version of Flaming Strike? Sure. Could they have made this hammer scale with innate fire damage for the Fire Monks? Absolutely. But instead, it's just a hammer. Neat. And the best place to farm is in Western Lernia or Eastern Lernia. That's fine too. Both Fire Monk camps are about equidistant from a Grace. I chose West because you start West, and I didn't really feel like going East. You might also notice we haven't gotten any health upgrades yet, or any upgrades of any kind. I figured, hey, how bad could it be to fight 2 Fire Monks and a little mob of Fire Priests without upgrades? The answer is quite bad. Turns out though, we wouldn't have the strength or dexterity to wield the hammer right away. We need to get some runes. The Confessor starts with 12 strength and 12 dexterity. The hammer requires a whopping 13 strength and dexterity. Simply can't be done. We gotta go level up. Oh well. Let's imagine a Black Flame Monk in Fort Height, or I guess at this point it's just a Confessor in Fort Height. Oh well. We beat up the Fort Knight for Bloody Slash and enough runes to buy the hammer. But then take it all the way up to the Dragon Barrow and hack up the dragon's toes. Because sure, it might be harder to get the hammer with no stats, but it's faster to do it with stats. And there really ain't no rules to this show other than no membies till you're dealing damage with something the build uses, and a video comes out every week. This helps Rule 2 happen. Also, I don't get all the vigor I would want. I got faith for the spell we need later and a little bit of vigor. Now we go back to it, except with Bloody Slash instead of Square Off, an Ash that's just worse, but I don't want to go change it, and there's a Stake America here, so we'll deal with it. Eventually, I figure out the best thing to do is to bait the little priests away on the horse. No, never mind, they're fast, so what if the best thing to do is die? We kill the first one, then fully press forward into the second one, and either get it done fast, or we die. And even if we do succeed, we'll just wait till the other guys hit the It's great that we don't count deaths anymore. That was a great decision by me. I always make great decisions, except when I put this shit on a poll. Then we finally get the hammer, an hour in, and let's test it out. What's with the charged attack? Why do we, Are the Black Flame Monks juggalos? We're finally done farming now, so we can warp to speed across Lernia and just avoid the dragon. Per the rules of secret starting class, we have the weapons, so you gotta drop trow. Farming the gear will be better with a bigger hammer, so let's head down to the Raya Lucaria Crystal Tunnel. Hit the Crystallion with a little right here, whoop whoop. Y'all, I don't think it does more damage. I don't think it does more stance pressure or has any buff. It just takes the bosses to the Dark Carnival. The Black Flame Carnival. Wow, look at that. We're already in Altus. More stones in the sealed tunnel, and I decide we can wear the red Fire Monk hood before we get the white hood. And the gauntlets, which look suspiciously similar to the final gauntlets. Huh. Anyway, Red Hood takes on the Onyx Lord. I thought that was a Wonder Woman villain. We get the script in and start whooping. This one's for the juggalos and juggalettes. Don't try this at home, and I hope you like it. To whoop more properly, we go grab the Axe Talisman, boosting the charged attack damage by 15%, then take Boggart to the Shack of Carnage. A true juggalo respects juggalettes. Raya brings us to Volcano Manor, but there's something else I need first. Money, or the ability to make more money. It's the Abandoned Cave, everyone's favorite, totally optional level that gets you like 25 more levels by the end of your run. And that's just the base game. Going to the tip of the DLC gets you more. Google Tulok tip to base on your work computer to find out more. The clean rots hit pretty hard and we still don't have a lot of health, but you know we have the power of the whoop whoop and that won't easily be defeated. Except for later, by all the bosses that easily defeat us. Spoilers, this one goes bad, but not yet. Tiptoe past the snake, and then open the shortcut so we can start getting dressed. Pants dropped from the first fire monk, he was really excited to drop them. But you know what's faster than the shortcut? It's just beat the Godskin Noble. His stance breaks fast, but you might notice that we get 1, 2, 3 stance breaks, and we've only taken off like 30% of his health. The hammer's at plus 13. What's happening? Well, let's talk about the hammer's problems as we farm. There are a few. So first off, Godskins resist strike damage. Not really the hammer's fault. We haven't invested in strength or dexterity as much because I'm getting faith first spells later. But even later on in the run, with optimized stats, this hammer is a dried out chicken tender that can't get better. It's got no sauce. But the bigger problem is this. It's a little hard to read, but basically our mace here is about 4 inches shorter than Marika's hammer, and about 2/3 the length of the standard hammer, which is to say,
we got a certified chode on our hands. Little tuna can.
Except not really even. A chode implies thickness and would give us some nice damage. This is short and skinny. It's just a micro hammer. After about 40 minutes of farming, we have every piece of the monk outfit, definitely the gloves too, didn't just use the fire monk gloves and not the black flame monk gloves. Final set has 50 poise, which is just, just laughing in our face that we're 1 point away from the good boys. Hopefully the spells cook. But what if you don't have time to cook and instead just want some tasty meals? Well, you should check out today's sponsor, Factor. That's right, gamers, this video is sponsored by Factor. Factor is the easy food delivery system that sends you meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. You just gotta pop them in the microwave and you're ready to go. No matter what your diet goals are, whether you're vegetarian looking to cut back on the calories and be calorie smart, or you're looking for extra protein if you want some mad gains, Factor has you covered. There is no better feeling in the world than being hungry and remembering you've got a delicious meal that's never been frozen and is still packed with flavor sitting in your fridge, ready to go. Don't fall into the takeout delivery trap where you gotta wait 40 minutes for the food to get there and it costs like $40 for one meal. Factor's cheaper than delivery or takeout. Get Factor and get eating faster, tastier food too. Head to factor75.com or click the link in the description and enter offer code HEIGHT50 for 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your first month of orders. Again, that's factor75.com or clicking the link in the description with offer code HEIGHT50 for 50% off your first box and 20% off your first month of orders. Imagine delicious foods in Fortnite. Now let's get back to that Black Flame Monk. Can I get a whoop whoop? On the way to Margit, the soldier drops a dagger right away, and after we farmed for 40 minutes to get our clothes, that kind of sucks. Damn it. Margit is actually a fight today. Bad hammer stats, very little vigor, his hits matter, and ours barely do. Maybe I should have invested in the hammer stats first. Hammers still have a bonus to stance pressure on their charged attacks, so whoop whoop does break things down pretty fast. No faster than any other hammer though. Again, it's purely for style points, and hey, I'm much more of a substance over style guy. It's gotta do something useful for me to like it. Danger Path might be stressful without health. For an amateur, this is a real professional Elden Ring man who won't even take a hit. But we have a detour, Ratland. By going through here, we can grab the seal if the rats would leave us alone.
You can bash up a whole bunch of rats with one quick strike, so it's more humane.
Now we've got the prayer book and seal for some of the best faith spells in the game. Wait, no, spells isn't the word. What are they called in Dark Souls?
You notice and recognize miracles.
It's just there in the air.
Alright, Godric, time to experience the Flame Monk Mace of Carnage. He holds up to our pressure pretty well, but when we get the crit, I'm flying! Miracles all around. Immediately break him down to phase 2, pretty standard, but the crit doesn't kill him because the hammer is bad. I misspaced the whoop whoop. I whooped too close to the sun. Getting grabbed is bad, but it's even worse when it happens twice. Thankfully, the Black Flame Monk set is actually pretty good for fire defense. We win, but it was a fight. Doesn't bode well. Godric's Great Rune should help us out though. +5 to everything can't hurt. We need everything except intelligence and arcane. One of our spells isn't in the book we got. We have to head to Altus and go up the windmill tower where we can fight the Godskin Apostle. Damage sucks. This one's also resistant to strike, the loose clothing, I'm pretty sure. Thankfully, I've practiced this fight a lot. I'm just not really used to it taking so long. long. That's Scouring Black Flame in our pocket, which applies the Black Flame debuff, obviously, but is half the speed of Black Flame Ball, and that's kind of bad. With percentile damage, you just want to get the hits out quickly. So against the Putrid Avatar, which is stupid weak to fire, as you can see, this isn't exactly burning down the forest. It's fine, but this thing takes bonus damage from fire. It should be doing much better. Unfortunately, Black Flame monks don't use the Black Flame Ball. They don't use the Black Flame Ritual. They don't use Black Flame Tornado. They use Scouring Black Flame, and they kinda use Black Flame Blade. They actually have a unique attack that coats their weapon in the Black Flame, but we can't do that, so I'm calling it Black Flame Blade. Oh, we beat Grail too. Now we have some health. Red Wolf of Radahn first, and it almost kills us. Hello? Hello? Heal? Heal! I'm telling the dog to heal. A very bad sign. Red Wolf should be a free fight, and it wasn't today. Let's introduce Renala's kids to the Clown Posse. Whoop whoop. More like whoop whiff. It's barely going to get a 2-cycle in phase 1. Can't remember the last time we had a 2-cycle, let alone one that was almost a 3-cycle. In phase 2, we hit 2 whoop whoops and a jump attack to get a stance break. Honestly, her being sleepy in phase 1 kind of hurts our damage. A non-insignificant part of it comes from the crits. She summons a dragon. I don't care. We crit through the fire. It's bad, but it looks neat. We need to find like an Ash of War for this or something. Like, what do I get? I can't get Craig Blade. I can get Stamp Upward Cut on this? Alright, let's get revenge on the Godskin Noble. It still goes bad, we're not doing much more damage, but the stance breaks happen so fast, it really only takes 2 full whoop whoops. Small issue, it's so stumpy that we can't whoop after a crit. Roll out, we just run around the pillar, and it works. I realize, actually, if I could have gotten him behind the pillar, that would have been great. Whoop whoop. Because even the Godskins can get hit by the Scouring Black Flame and take that percentile damage. Speak of the devil, we get it. Stance break him with a spell, and he immediately goes back to rolling. He tries to hit the fireball, but mine's wider. You should know how important it is to be wide. Scouring Black Flame has some uses, just not very many. Getting around pillars is one of them. Is it good against right card? No clue. We use the Serpent Hunter. Skip. With the big snake dead, we can check in with Bernie's sword to buy Stamp Upward Cut and change the affinity of our hammer. It's not going to help us very much, but it will help us a little bit. Sounds like Jaren's throwing a dark carnival of his own.
15,000 juggalos together.
Okay, there's only like 8 of us, but still, Radahn has some good range, solid damage, and fast moves. We scour him with the Black Flame as he gets distracted by everyone else. Fire is his worst defense. Cool, burn works great. Radahnn's hole is so rad, there's even another Black Flame monk in here. Let's test that Black Flame Blade. It is a super short buff duration, about 7 seconds on the weapon, but it puts 2 percentile damage on each hit. These do not stack, it is damage over time, but it still makes things melt. Here's an issue though. The hammer is so short, it kind of can't keep up with the mimic's rolling. At least he's just in medium load and doesn't have a method of attacking us for major damage. That would be a very bad combo for us, like a uniquely bad combo for this build specifically. We don't have anything long enough or fast enough to hit a roll spamming NPC.
Foreshadowing as a narrative device.
Oh dear, it's a deer. And I'm trying to use the Scouring Black Flame, but it's too slow. We get stomped or it runs away. When we do get it to land, it's pretty good, until the deer heals all of the health back up. Big bummer. It even gets to heal a second time, which is less than the first time, but still more than I'd like. As it tries to heal the third time, we hit the whoop whoop, break its stance, and finish off with the critical hit of Carnage. Carry a manor, maybe 2% of one, but that's not all that much. Actually, yeah, it is. There are so many bricks here. Loretta just gets Black Flame Blade and whoop whoop treatment. Since we can't stance break, we just use that to reapply the buff. Now the water does lower the fire damage, but just remember, fire, water, air, dirt,
Fucking magnets, how do they work?
Is it clear that I only know one ICP song yet? Talk to Ronnie. Now we're destined to a great chest in Nokron. Get your minds out of the gutter. Trade weed for a statue. Honestly, not the best trade, but whatever. Incel Rivermain, yeah, I think the religious zealots in white robes, they're incels. They might be using a black flame, but they're a walking red flag. If they say it's for a Halloween costume of a ghost, you need a picture of them at a party. If everyone else at that party is also dressed up as a ghost, Swipe left. Okay, Estelle likes to move a lot, something this hammer and scour have not been great at historically so far. Damage is pathetic. We get grabbed. Everything kinda stinks. The Black Flame monks really did just pick the worst things from the kit. I honestly think regular Fire Monk might be better, because that'll get to use O-Flame, which is pretty good, and Flaming Strike, which is pretty good. And some bad options I'd get to ignore. The little flamethrower thing they do sucks shit, but I'll just not use that when I do that one. We end up getting through though. I will say extra stance pressure and Black Flame Blade before a crit feels pretty cool. I just wish our hammer had an extra foot or so of length, or at least did some better damage. It's just all penalty with no reward. Here's where I decided to respec, focusing on dexterity first instead of faith, which is mostly what we're using the hammer for, because it actually scales best on keen, which is kinda neat. It helps a little with dexterity since that's the casting speed stat, so let's go get the iron wet blade and make a peachy keen hammer. Valiant gargoyles are weak to strike, so weirdly this fight goes okay today, even without a spirit ash to drop. Technically we do have Black Flame Monk at home with the mimic tier, but that feels like cheating, and I'm not ready to start cheating yet. I will be later. VS champs are NPCs. Oh no, we're bad at those. But wait, none of them are in light load, and they attack slow enough that we can back up and scour them in a group. It's great for crowd control. How many crowd control fights are there in the game? 207 bosses, and it looks like 2. Huh. That sucks. Time for the section with the hardest boss of the entire run. It's not exactly my proudest moment. Guess which boss it is, knowing that the next section goes from the royal capital through the Elden Beast. It's a fun little game. Look, am I the best Elden Ring player in the world? No. But do I respect the saxophone more than any of the others? Yes.
What does that have to do with me?
No. He's got a point.
Ritual Shield should help our armor, which is kind of bad despite almost being good in the poise category. Okay, so as I complain and whine, I am kind of feeling it. Black Flame is bad. 7 seconds is terrible for a duration, but against the Godfrey Shade, it's kind of fun. We start with some whoop whoops and some jump attacks, then pepper up that crit. I found I'm gravitating more towards silly builds that aren't good, rather than good builds that aren't fun. Whoop whoop isn't good, but it's so funny to just whoop whoop right in the boss's face and then smack them. I even finish it off with a nice pepper crit. Extra pocket, let's grab the turtle. When in doubt, turtle it out. Oh, and let's go get some better physics by beating up the putrid avatar in Caelid, the second one. We've had one, yes, but let's do a second putrid avatar. This one drops the fire boosting and stamina recovery physic tiers. Both are nice, we'll end up using both. Not right now. Morgoth, get ready, you're about to get smacked up, but oh boy, this is not doing much. My reaction time was bad on our stance break, so no pepper crit. And then I goof again. He's got super damage resistance on the phase transition, but Black Flame doesn't care about that. It would have been perfectly fine to hit him. We finish it off by making him walk into some scouring flames and one last whoop whoop. Easy capital. For Harris lands, could we get a little push for Puerto Rico and DC statehood? They're part of the United States, but not represented properly in the democracy, which doesn't feel super democratic. Obviously, I don't mind that it would be 6 more electoral votes that lean left, but if you don't like that, we can just abolish the Electoral College. Aren't you mad about all the Republicans in California whose votes count for nothing? Or in New York? I'd be quite cross. Let's just dump the whole system, make everyone's vote equal. Both our seal and our hammer are standard weapons, so the Bell Bearing 3 is a nice upgrade. Also, the Godslayer seal scales the best of any base game seal up to a nice 69 faith. Apparently there are DLC seals that scale better at certain levels. That is a tongue twister, but I ain't reading all that and you can't make me. Fire Giant resists fire, but he also has health. Any boss that has health is susceptible to the Black Flame, and slower bosses are much more susceptible to it because they're slow. This is where I learned the true optimal moveset for the build. One hand the hammer and keep lubing it back up. We break the ankle, then break the stance and get a combo that does some serious damage. The hammer isn't even the ideal weapon for this, but when we go Black Flame on the taint, it carves up that HP. I don't care about damage resistances. I'm not doing damage, I'm damaging your health. I think Bandit's Curved Sword would probably be where it's at. Curved Swords are fast, and that's the longest one. Maybe Scavenger's Curved Sword, though, that has bleed, too. Try it at home, I think you'll love it. Now let's light this Christmas tree. Oh my god, the hammer is a Christmas tree. I just noticed that. Are the Black Flame monks festive? Time to fight our bosses, the Godskin duo. Strike resistance is high, but they have health, so Black Flame Blade will work, and I kind of vibe with this. It encourages you to be aggressive. Be aggressive. Keep in mind, Bernie beat his Godskin faster than us with a hammer that does fire and strike, so maybe this isn't all that effective, but it's neat, it's fun, and it's enough to get us a first try win. Honestly, we should just make the monk weapon unique somber weapons with an Ash of War that does a Black Flame attack, like the monks do. But oh well. Swag Jump, Bird Run. I've not been narrating these as much much during the last few runs, but they're kind of uneventful. Malekith Time, Black Flame, and Death Flame are kind of similar. But also, they're kind of not. I think they probably were the same thing in early versions of the game, and then they diverged at some point. We're enjoying the pepper combo, but not getting as much stance pressure. Only the charged attacks and jump attacks get boost, our ones do not. The whiffs are not helping on Malekith's weird, twisty body. It's honestly terrible. Even when we do get a charged attack off, enough time has passed since our last hit, he's pretty much fully recovered. It finally happens right at the end, and we get a pepper crit. Didn't need the pepper, it's just for flavor. Seasoning, it's so important. Hey, we haven't had a bad boss in this section yet, so it's gonna be Radahn, right? Maybe Godfrey? Certainly it's not
Sir Gideon Othmere, the all-knowing.
You must be so embarrassed!
Okay, so let's check out the first attempt, because it's our best one for a long time. Pepper up and whoop whoop, then stamp and he rolls.
Oh no!
Gideon Ofnir is in light load, which means that his roll carries him far enough away that we don't get to take just 2 steps and swing, we have to take like 3 or 4 steps and swing. And those extra steps either mean we whiff and he gets a spell off because we didn't close the gap, or we do close the gap and he gets a spell off because it took us longer to walk up to him. Neither option is good for us. We've been Gideon with low reach weapons before though, so why is this one worse? Well, even the fists hit harder than this hammer does. There is a window to get in and hit him, but it's tight. And if he chooses to roll for his input instead of casting a spell, he just dodges. And we use stamina, he doesn't. Our endurance hasn't been leveled at all, so we run out of it pretty fast here, even with the turtle. He also doesn't run out of FP. Gideon isn't actually a wimpy tarnished. He has unlimited stamina, mind, more than triple the health of a 99 vigor tarnished. His casting speed is perfect, and 3 of his spells, the swords, the rings, and the comet, are in the fast casting category. The hitbox of the triple rings demands that we roll away or we'll get 2-shot by it going in and out. If we're further away, we can't rush him down with the hammer and he gets to spam another spell. Scouring Black Flame is slower than those 3 spells, so we can't use that as an option either. It's even slower than some of his slow spells. Stamp Upward Cut can poise chain him with other weapons, but this one isn't long enough. When we do that with the Zweihander or the Guts Greatsword, we're able to do it because even if he backs up, the sword will close the distance for us. The hammer doesn't do that. There isn't a good option here, and it makes Gideon Ofnir not only the hardest boss of this run, but the hardest boss we fought in several runs. Think about it, we haven't really struggled with Consort Radahn since Mesmer. So this isn't an exaggeration when I say that Gideon is harder than Consort Radahn was for the last few runs. We're in a bullet hell, and it's a bad time. It takes almost a full hour until we eventually get him in a chain and actually bash him down. All right, back to the rest of this section. Godfrey first, it's a fun fight again with a little Black Flame blade, a little Scouring Flame as he hits the Earthquake, a little getting grabbed in phase 2 because I didn't back up enough. Quit out. Embarrassing. Black Flame is a fun way to play the game. You should totally try it on your next run. It just feels different. Don't whiff the crit though. You need that crit. It's scary out here without those crits. Radahn has no fire resistance, so the fire part of the weapon is really good. And Elden Beast has a ton of health, so the percentile damage is really, really good. Like, really fast. This is like a really fast Elden Beast. It only gets to go for the first set of rings, and we end it with a classic whoop whoop. Time for the DLC. Wait, no, we still have other Membes. God, Gideon just killed this run's time. We're gonna need a miracle to get this done on time.
Fed a fish to a pelican at Frisco Bay. It tried to eat my cell phone. He ran away.
Oh, right, incantations, my bad. Castle Soul, we beat up the ghosts, then it's Niall's turn to be toast. He does the big Omega charge, it doesn't work out well for him. There's enough time between his decks that we can reapply the Black Flame Lube before we hit. That way, we get a little more oomph on our hits. Also, yeah, it's shaped like a Christmas tree, it's also shaped like a butt plug. I don't like this hammer. Nothing against butt plugs though. On the way down to the consecrated snowfield, I grabbed the silver scarab. There's still one more thing we could farm if we wanted to, but I don't want to, so we won't until later. We gotta fight the stray mimic tier, but we also unlock our best friend, Black Flame Amon. I wish he was cookies that cut the roof of my mouth up instead. It's worth it. I know there's glass in them little bitches, but they're good. Didn't fight the putrid avatar for any specific reason, just wanted the money before we go down to fight Placidusax, cause I hate Placidusax. I'm worried he's gonna jank us. Bale wouldn't do that. Percentile damage, please save me. It does great for a bit. Blassie obviously has a bigger health bar. Bigger health bar means bigger percents. He also goes for the lightning nuke. I like that. And our damage is so bad that we get him to stance break later and get to finish him before the Omega Breath. It's a miracle. Whoop whoop. Penguin Noble, it's time to attend the Dark Carnival. Although we're trash against NPCs, especially fast ones, I think power stanced daggers gotta be one of the fastest moveset in the game. Anyway, it's Mogan time with our buddy Amon. The damage keeps ticking away and never really stops. That's pretty cool. Amon even keeps the pressure up when Moog starts counting. Also, see a Sesame Street reference? Dude loves counting in blood. That is Count Von Count to a T. I hope he is. That would be funny. Liturgical Town, then we realize we should probably do Fortisax before I forget. Say what you will about Melania, I don't forget to do her. Fortisax is kind of a good place to use the Scouring Black Flame. Not the best place, because it still uses a lot of magic, but we're able to hit the head until we run out. Then it's Chode City on the toes. Now we can head down to the Haligtree, Swag Jump 2, fight Loretta 2. She gets melted with the power of Black Flame, and to be honest, I kind of see Melania going the same way. She is weakest to fire damage. This should go fine. First, we're going to try and pull her off the water, then bring in Amon. She could juice box him, but not if I die really fast. Never thought about that, did you? Then I could just die. Scouring Black Flame is wide enough to hit after she dodges, but the Black Flame blade is more consistent until she hits the Ducky Dance and we just die. But hey, Phil didn't put on the physical defense talisman. The fool. Let's try it out with 20% less physical damage. That might help a little or a lot. Black Flame blade is pretty great. Each time she hits you, she heals 1% of her health, but Black Flame does 2%. 2% is more than 1. Ask Moog. He loves counting. We live the clone attack in phase 2 and get her into her second onion. Scouring Flame goes far enough to hit her inside, keeps pressure and damage up. Waterfowl Dance is concerning, but we're able to clutch it out. No worries. She even yaps long enough that we can throw the golden scarab on. Ah, yapping. We love it. We do love yapping, right?
Everything comes down to poo. From the top of your head to the sole of your shoe.
It's time for the media literacy check. Today, let's check out the depraved Dookie Diner, the crazy Caca Confectionaire, the loathsome Dung Eater. Hope you're not eating, everyone. We don't need to talk about the particulars of his diet, but rather who he is, why he does what he does, and why the hell is he in this game. First question's easy. It's in the opening. He's the Dung Eater. What does he do? Well, just what it says on the tin. Except not quite. In Japanese mythology, there's a little beastie called a kappa that hang out in rivers and like to dine on the Shiriko Dama, a soul that belongs in the hole. Okay, gonna get a little nasty, but I'll use Transformers as a metaphor to make things better. If Megatron was a kappa, he'd take out Optimus Prime's exhaust pipe to get the Shiriko Dama. To clarify, that is one kappa in mythology. Every mythology has like a million different interpretations. There's like 30 different interpretations of the Jersey Devil, and that's way newer than the kappa. But this kappa seems specifically similar to Dung Eater for a couple reasons. When we see the Dung Eater's victims, they're on chairs, and it is messy. Now, perhaps all of the victims have hemorrhoids, or the preeminent booty muncher is eating, like the growing boy he is. The Dung Eater defiles the corpses to curse them, so that when they're reborn cursed. His motivation is, he just kind of hates people. He loves killing. He hates people. He wants them to suffer. He's misanthropic. Misanthropy means you hate humanity and wish the worst for it. To clarify, this is different from nihilism, which is the belief in nothing, rooted in the Latin nihil, for nothing. Wait, where have I heard that before? Believing in nothing isn't hating people. Hating people is a belief in something. Nihilism is belief in nothing. It's also not anarchy. Anarchy is not explosions in the street and graffiti everywhere. Anarchy is the belief that a society does not need an organized structure of power and that people are good enough to cooperate voluntarily. I'm just clarifying because I often see misanthropic characters described as nihilists or anarchists. The Jonkler. I'm talking about the Jonkler. My audience is going to have the media and political literacy to recognize the difference. Also, I feel like a lot of you are going to think I'm anarchist. I'm not an anarchist, I'm a socialist. There's a difference. Dung Eater was locked away in a sewer jail, along with the rest of the omens. There are omens that have their horns cut off. Most of them die. Lovely. The Omen Baron item shares a little information while ending in one of the saddest quotes. Please don't hate me or curse me, please. The fact that the doll is the remembrance of a baby is just, crushing. It's a huge bummer. Anyway, Dung Eater loves carving up omens, and people, really anyone.
Children, animals, old people, doesn't matter. I just love killing.
These barons launch wraiths to attack the foe, or in other words, cursed souls. Dung Eater kills people, curses their souls in a special way, then he throws those souls at people. So it goes holes, souls, throws, people. The omen set makes it pretty clear that the Dung Eater is not an omen. He carved one up and is wearing it. I'm assuming it's probably Milos. His weapon is the sword of Milos, but describes Milos as a smaller giant. I don't think it's entirely reasonable to call the omens smaller giants. There's definitely something with the curse that makes them bigger. Morgoth, Mohg, all the other omens running around, they're considerably larger than you. Sword of Milos is specifically the giant's spine, by the way. Maybe he defiled a giant and an omen separately. Dungy just loves post-death mutilation. You know, there is scant insight to his motivation. I said scant, not scat, different words. After you give him a seedbed curse, he curses the Golden Order. And yeah, the Mending Rune of Kaka, is that what it's called? Sure, why not? But the Mending Rune of Kaka curses the Elden Ring and curses everyone else moving forward. Dung Eater hates the existing power structure, which makes him like just about everybody else you meet in the game. If Fia wants to change the Elden Ring, is she really that different than the Dung Eater? Yeah, the system is broken is a pretty universally agreed upon idea. The shifting scale of solutions just moves from the leftward empathy to the rightward misanthropy. Fia's ending extends empathy to those who live in death. That's a nice thing. The Dung Eater extends suffering and punishment even to those who haven't done anything, like to babies. He wants to curse children. There isn't really a real world equivalent to this, of people rooting against their own self-interest just to make someone else suffer more. So for those of you who don't want politics in this section, there isn't, other than I guess me explaining political ideologies without putting my thumb on the scale. Some policies might offer one group more than others, but we would never push for universal suffering just to make a small group of people suffer. Just for today, we don't have a real world equivalent. The Dung Eater is a uniquely evil asshole. Gobbler.
Bazinga!
No, we do it so much. We do it so much. Why? Lyndon B. Johnson was a bad guy. You can tell because he was the president of the United States. But when he wasn't escalating the Vietnam War, he was trying to go to war with poverty and get the Voting Rights Act passed. Two things that are pretty good. And when he was met with opposition, he took meetings on the crapper and in a hot tub so he could hang dong in intimidation. Look that up. It's true. That man was packing. To quote him, if you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him someone to look down on and he'll empty his pockets for you. Thankfully, that was a long time ago. And now, voting rights are equal to everyone. That bill got passed, and white people aren't being stirred into racist frenzy to vote against their own interests.
Bazinga!
Oh my God, huge parts of the Voting Rights Act were gutted by the Supreme Court in 2013, specifically the provision that made states with historically oppressive voting laws, bet you can guess which ones, needed to get approval federally before changing their voting laws. Racism isn't a problem in the southern states now. Did you hear that good news? So guess what states started doing basically the second this was overturned? Would you believe? They changed the laws to make it harder for people to vote. Sure, that hurts black people more who have been dealing with systemic oppression in the South since, wow, the whole time? Like the whole time of the United States of America? Why were they there? It seems like a bad place for them. Oh, that seems bad too. But then slavery ended and we apologized and gave the former slaves something to get started, right? Okay. Yeah, I'm looking into this. This seems bad. But we didn't actively create groups of people to harass black people and burn down any institutions that they built. Oh, that's the origins of most police departments. Okay, but the police are good. No, this all seems bad. And it's bad for white people too. It's bad for everyone, but it's specifically bad for black people, so racist people love to vote for it. Racism isn't the only misanthropic policy we have, though. Have you tried to make the Dung Eater a meal in a major metropolitan area recently? There is no good place to make your gold-tinged excrement. I remember growing up, anytime I had to drop a god-devouring serpent off at the Lake of Rot, every business had a place for me to do my business. What happened to that? Homeless people, they had to poop too. But because society hates the unhoused so much, we got rid of public restrooms, which, by the way, is why there's poo-poo on the street. You think unhoused people are jumping at the chance to poop on the sidewalk? No, you fool. Eventually what goes in must come out, but that's their fault because they were too stupid to have homes. There are more empty homes than there are unhoused people by a comfortable margin. But instead of getting mad at the people who hoard access to shelter, a basic necessity for life, we're getting mad at homeless people? Really? Oh, they're lazy and they refuse to get jobs. They are trying to get jobs. Big dog, join me in a thought exercise. Imagine the job you have and the interview process you went through to get it. Did you take a shower before the interview? Did you get to brush your teeth? Put a cell phone number on your application? And oh boy, I don't know, an address? Sorry, it's always coming back to bathroom stuff, but bathrooms are important. It's one of the most important parts of shelter. I'll repeat, a necessity for being alive. Getting a job anywhere as a homeless person is incredibly difficult because of the basic barriers you need to enter the job market. The super banging job market with a minimum wage of $7.25 an hour federally, or even in the best minimum wage area of Washington, D.C., a whopping $17 an hour. With 40 hours per week, you're looking at around $2,700 before taxes. The average studio apartment in D.C. is currently going for $1,800 per month per apartments.com, leaving you $900 for the rest of the month. Hope you don't have any debt. Remember, being homeless is a moral failing. If it was something that any of us were basically a few bad months away from, that would mean we're just lucky. And no, we worked really hard and earned our place in life. But if they have money, they'll just spend it on booze and drugs. Okay, dog, factually untrue, but okay, dog, can we do anything to help them get off the drugs and booze? No, because then we're spending money to help the unhoused. And remember, we hate them collectively, but we're not doing the dung eater at all. He's a really bad guy. I round up my purchases for the Ronald McDonald House sometimes. I'm a good guy. Also, homeless people, they're basically just camping. Camping's fine. They have shelter. Sure, it's a tent or a makeshift shack they built with whatever they could find, but we'll leave them that. Yeah, you know it's coming.
Bazinga!
Why are we bulldozing homeless camps? Because, Phil, they're not safe.
No shit.
Yeah, believe it or not, I'm aware that the homeless camp is maybe not the safest place to live, but you know what's worse? Street, raw sidewalk. That's why they made the camp. And you know what doesn't make them more safe? Bulldozers. Cops running in to arrest people so they can steal the very few things they have. It is all misanthropic, dung-eater-esque policy all the way down. Why the hell do we do it? To go back to Lyndon B. Johnson, the B stands for bastard, don't forget. He is, in fact, still a bad guy. His quote is specifically about a racial divide, but the logic extends to any society that has a broken class structure. By scapegoating the lower class and minority groups, the ruling class can make their struggles a moral failure, rather than a systemic one. While you're fighting against the homeless or someone with a different background than you, you're not focused on the person who's actually in power, who's actually making your life worse. You are infinitely closer to being a homeless person than you are to becoming a billionaire. You are closer to an omen than you are to a demigod. Simple policies like easing access to voting, public restrooms, public housing, benches, goddamn benches, or literally just not removing the benches that are currently there would make your life better while also helping the oppressed. Empathy rather than misanthropy. The center of that spectrum is apathy. Oh, the system's bad, nothing can change it, so I don't care. I just want to make my dinner and play my video game. That's boggart. Sure, I dunk on him for being a misogynist, but that's just him misappropriating his anger at America to all women. He's really just an indifferent guy who's gonna make shrimp. And how does that work out for him? Misanthropy and bigotry will eventually come for you. You might not be part of the outgroup right now, but you will be. It is a train rolling to individual isolation. The grifters are trying to make you angry, trying to make you mad at women or DEI or homeless people, but that anger is just there to put you on a path to loneliness. When you're alone, all you have is that anger, and that anger isn't even yours. It's the anger of whatever huckster radicalized you towards the misanthropy. Whether you misdirect your anger to the unhoused or racial minority, women, trans people, or a vague boogeyman you just call woke. They're making your circle smaller until it's just you and them, and all the money they're taking out of your pocket. That's how you become the dung eater. They spew shit, and you eat it. Anyway, first boss of the Shadow route, Jory, we never get it first try, and this time we get stun locked on a tombstone. Weak. We're also low on flasks as we came down, so yeah, big L. More bosses should just make you fight a dungeon first. That would be a good idea for them. Not for us. Scouring Black Flame is good at crowd control. This is the second crowd control fight in the game, which is why, kind of a bad spell. It's useful in 2 fights, that's not great. First Ancient Dragon Man almost kills us with the chain of jump attacks that come out faster than RR1s? Weird. Eventually we get a rhythm where we can just attack and he doesn't. So that's nice, and we can fight another Ancient Dragon Man. Cool. This time we bring Amon with us, which makes it easier. It's fun to hang out with your friends. I've started doing Jagged Peak Drake on this trip too, but you gotta get off the horse. The horse is a trap to stun lock you. It's okay against one dragon, but two are gonna put out hitboxes that just turn poor Torrent into glue. We tried to scour the head on the second attempt. It works fine until we run out of magic. I would say it's not very FP efficient, but we haven't gotten to invest in our mind yet because we need vigor, faith, and dexterity. I'll save everyone the time of explaining that if something requires 3 stats to be good, it isn't good. Actually, that was pretty quick. If only I could explain systemic inequality so quickly. Maybe I'll just stop doing those media literacy checks.
Bazinga.
Well, I mean, eventually I'll run out of stuff to talk about with this game. Sorry, that will happen. I know people mostly like it, like 90% of you like it, but probably not for a month or two. Hippo time, lots of health. He's a hungry boy. We do get it done by hugging that big old hippo booty and putting our hammer up there. Oh my God, the hammer is a spiky butt plug. Oh God. I don't know if that makes me like it less or more. Time for the remembrance bosses. At least they won't be as hard as Gideon, though we might need to upgrade the weapon.
Hammer time.
Why yes, MC, I would like to stop hammer time. Especially after Gaius won't stop pancaking our shit in. Getting close to him on the piggy is hard, and we can't get on the pony because it has tiny ankles that shatter instantly. Despite all that, we get pretty close on our first attempt. Each following attempt is a little worse and a little longer. Gaius gives you enough time to heal so that you can start drinking and he can hit you while you're drinking. I know that I'm not allowed to heal in this fight until I've dodged an attack, but it's instinctual to get bodied and take a little sip, a sippy cup. We flounder for about 20 minutes and then go back to the farm. The Fire Monk sword has an infamously rough farm. You can only get it in the giant Conquering Hero's grave from one Fire Monk that's in a little alcove by a fire turret pillar. I actually make great use of that fire pillar. And because we're aggroed to the gargoyles we ran past, we can't open the map until we just die. 4% drop rate. But remember that silver scarab from earlier? Now it's more like a 5% drop rate. Imagine you went shopping and there was only a 1 in 25 chance that the store had those shoes you want in stock. Also, there's a flamethrower at the entrance. You have to fight a salesperson to the death to get it. Only took us 10 minutes though, so we don't have to make it like a whole section. It's not the Shadow Tree farming. The ancient Dragonstone 10 I wanted is behind Theodorix. We could squeak right past him, or we could test the sword. Here's why it's better than the hammer. Wait, really? Okay, so the light attack does 10 stance damage instead of 6. It does have a worse stance pressure on the charged heavies by 3 points, but also, no it doesn't. You see, to get 36 stance pressure from the whoop whoop, you need to land the damn attack. The Monk Flameblade is one of the shorter curved greatswords, but it's still twice as long as the Chode Mace. Also with Black Flame Blade, as our main method of damage, R1s are going to be the best option for attacking anyway. So if each hit does more damage, it swings a little slower, but not much, and we get way better stance pressure. It's great. We take it back to Gaius and get a first try win, with plenty of flasks to spare. Time for this build to be excellent.
What do you mean,
Who's ready for Mesmer? Not us. We quit out because I forgot to eat all those Shadow Tree seeds from Gaius. We're summoning Hornsent this time. Who needs a beautiful angry goth woman in armor when you can have a Nazi who shits himself?
I've made a huge mistake.
We died in phase 2, first attempt. First real attempts. Look, Horny ain't all that bad. He's just here because we were trying to get the Ansbach bow for next week and some stuff went wrong. You might know the stuff went wrong because he's alive. People are not great at explaining the steps to get that bow. Attempt 2, Horny is dead before phase 2, but me and Amon got this. Mesmer isn't even that hard. He can just clear the whole screen as a giant snake or with his dive attacks and spray AoEs everywhere that completely melt our health down despite having good fire resistance. Might sound like I'm complaining, but I love this dude. Mesmer rips. It's a really great fight. We win, which means we can enter any Elden if it wasn't for the bugs.
The bugs!
The bugs!
If Romina is following me, I'm laying down on the floor. She earned it. Phil, she's gonna eat you. Okay, did I stutter? All this scurrying around makes me glad we have a little reach. Not a lot of reach, but after spending 12 in-game hours swinging a popsicle stick, feels really good to swing, I guess, 2 popsicle sticks taped together. The Black Flame Blade moveset kind of falls off in the DLC, where all the bosses are too fast for you to pepper up your blade, which is a bummer. I was really vibing with it in the base game. Burn Down Erdtree number 2, we started fighting Mesmer 8 minutes ago. Honestly, starting to think that the Shadow Tree fragments were put in to make you explore the big world. Once you have them, the remembrance bosses do not take very long. I always forget you can backstab the big Hornsent, but I guess that makes sense. More back, more stab. They're like the big bodies from Kingdom Hearts. Oh, I'm gonna be playing Kingdom Hearts soon, and I'm stoked. It's gonna be great. Funniest shit happens on the way to the Shadow Tree, though. The controller dies. Over and over and over again. Oh. Well, that seems like a good way to decide it's time to end it. My controller's dead. Yeah, that's a problem. I do want to try and make this jump. We're fighting it! We're still fighting it! We're still fighting it! I want to get there! I want to get it! Oh no! Oh fuck! Oh no, wait! Oh fuck! Wait, I can't even quit out! The controller needs to be on to quit out! No! Good news, when I came back, definitely remembered what we were doing. Oh, right. Oh, fuck. Bird Run 2 FromSoft? Wow, you shouldn't have. No, seriously, you shouldn't have. Put Amon on Lion Duty and run. Lion Duty? What are we at, Ford Field? Am I right? Am I? I don't follow sports. Hang on. Okay, so apparently the Lions were the best team in their division last year, so joke rescinded. That's the last Shadow Tree fragment, which means we can start the boss rush mode. Dancing Lion Beast first. What are we at, Ford Field? Am I right? Am I? Is Jared Goff secretly 3 guys in a trench coat? All right, that's your one joke for the year. Make sure to store it up for a long winter. Black Flame Blade and Curved Sword. So much better than Black Flame Blade and Hammer, but that says more about the hammer than it does about the sword. 4 minutes later and we're fighting Rolana. Time flies when you're having fun. I am having fun with this one. I said last week I was not feeling great. I feel better this week. Came up with a plan to mix some variety in my life so I don't burn out. We'll be announcing some new projects soon. Please support them to support us. Rolana gets a boost to her fire damage resistance on the water, but thankfully she's so pissed off that she'll just rush you down. Today, we jump the moons. I'm so proud of myself. I should play a platformer like Astrobot or Dark Souls 2. Midra is a fireman, but he doesn't prevent fires. Actually, wait. Yeah, he does. And we beat the shit out of him for that. So now he's starting fires. Black Flame beats the Frenzy Flame because we have a friend. Which flame is best? The flame of friendship. You thought Bird Run was bad? Well, would you still love it if it was a worm run? I wouldn't. I don't like this part of the game. I don't like the boss that's down here, but our weapon is slightly longer than it used to be. Might make the Putrescent Knight more manageable. Wow, he has fire too. It's blue fire. For some reason, I never do well in this fight until I run out of flasks and then I just turn it on. Lock in, right? That's what the kids are saying nowadays. Lately, we've been respecking at the end for Radahn's Great Rune. This run's no exception. All these extra bosses just get us really high leveled. Also, strength is useless on this build. We're rocking the Keen Infusion. It helps keep the stat requirements low. I do wish you could build a Flame Infusion and still use the buff, especially with Black Flame, but oh well. Now it's time to get fingered in a hole, or put our finger in a hole, or get fingered while sounding.
That's nasty.
Best part of this, your mirror quest is just lining yourself up in his hat hole. Hey. How are you? God, this quest takes a minute. See you in a few minutes. I'm gonna go make some leftovers or something. All right, looks like we beat Anna. Mediri is thick. She's also quick. It looks bad. You know, I'll be real, folks. I don't know if this is the run. I mean, honestly, we just need a stance break. Yep, there we go. I think that's it. Gotta believe in yourself. The Black Flame monks are all about faith in death. Sunflower takes inconsistent damage from Scouring Flame, but it's good at hitting it. I think some of the hits do twice as much. I think maybe the bad ones are hitting the arms first or something, and you can only hit one part of the body. I don't know, whatever. Burning down a garden is a pretty great way to pick flowers. The only thing you care about are the flowers being gone. Dick drawing in the sand before Letta makes a chode. I guess even if we've upgraded the weapon, we can't upgrade ourselves. 3 buddies makes short work of Letta's crew. And no, it's time to fight Radahn. Black Flame isn't totally terrible for this fight. If you have some buddies to distract him, you can get the buff off, but you know what would be better? If the attacks were just good without Black Flame. Monk's Flameblade is in the same category as the damn Bloodhound Fang. Why does it do so much worse? Bloodhound Fang even has bleed, and it can still be buffed.
I think you're better than me.
I am better than you.
Alas, the problem is not damage, or at least not our damage. Just like every other run through Radahn, this man is simply built different. He's built too widely and too quickly. He's the opposite of the Fire Monk Hammer. He's the Water Sinner Nail. You don't come here for metaphors. After a bunch of flopping, it's time for the most time-honored tradition to win, cheating. Let's get better Black Flame Spirit Ash. There are 2 in the game. One of them is just the Mimic tier. It has more health and does more damage. Then grab the Golden Vow spell. Faith builds are the best at cheating because their faith makes it more taboo. Just jump off the cliff before the cannibal shows up.
I thought I was gonna get eaten!
We have so many spells on the kit now. Black Flame Protection, Golden Vow, Black Flame Blade, Lord's Divine Fortnitification, and Erdtree Heal. Maybe we went a little overboard, but remember what Goldie Hawn said. I was in overboard. Things go better, but now we have problems of analysis paralysis. Eventually you gotta get in the paint and get ready to brawl. Unless you're Ansbach, and then you just kinda waddle around in there and occasionally switch from one-handing to two-handing your sickle.
What would you say you do here?
So you know what? Take the day off, Ansbach. Let's see how it goes without you. I figured the fight would be better with him in it, since he does percentile damage, we do percentile damage, so if the boss gets a bigger health bar, that doesn't really matter. Every boss dies in 50 hits of the Black Flame. But also, every boss dies faster when it has less health. This time, it's just us. We pepper up, hit him a few times, and we get hit with the meteor jump. The jump is the worst part of that move, and that's saying something, because the meteors suck too. After he lifts the rocks, we bring in Black Flame Monk number 2, and then desperately hope to find a window for the attacks. They're kinda infrequent, but that 7 seconds feels longer than you think it would. Phase 2, block the nuke with the sword. It takes some of the damage off, I think. Let the mimic get grabbed and start praying, like lots of praying. We even have time to re-pepper and get a hit off. Ain't that nice? Hyperlight Drifter is really fun if you don't want your attacks to do damage, but we're really getting helped by the mimic tier with Erdtree Heal. By the time he jumps up, he's almost dead. We're not bringing Ansbach again. I don't know if we'll win this time, but we're not bringing Ansbach again. Meteors are worse in phase 2, but we live the super jump, and then it's just one more hit after he whiffs a grab. You know what's fucked up? Ansbach's the next run. That's what we're gonna start on now. Or so I thought. Did you know that if you don't summon Ansbach for the fight, you can't get his gear after the fight? Does Ansbach shit not show up if you don't summon him? Well, I guess that's a problem for next week. Bailing hard. It's fun. It's too focused on being a good fight that rips to be too hard. So let's place the run. C tier. It had to cheat against Radahn, and it floundered against Gideon Ofnir. That's pretty embarrassing. Still, I can't help but think it's kind of fun to figure out the timing of the Black Flame Blade. Don't get me wrong, as a method of applying Black Flame, it's like 4th place out of 6 total. But remember, I don't care about what's good anymore. I don't even care if it gets us killed. I don't care if it kills bosses fast. I only care about whether it makes me feel something. In this game, I've played 200 times or so, and you know what? It's fun. It's a little different. Try it out for better weapons, with better armor. You'll probably have a great time. Oh shit, I forgot about the Godslayer Greatsword. Yeah, so never mind. It's 5th out of 7. Yeah, spell stinks, but it's fun. Try it. Bye. Thanks for watching the video. If you had fun, please like and subscribe. It helps us out. Join us on Twitch to watch these runs live. That's where we do it. And join the Patreon if you want to support the channel. It is the best place to do that.